Hey there! Welcome to another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to be taking on a topic that's got me really pumped.
Oh, yeah.
Corporate entrepreneurship.
Cool.
We're going to be exploring how companies can transform themselves from the inside out.
Okay.
Even completely reinventing entire industries.
It's an interesting area.
Right.
You'd be surprised how many
Yeah.
large,
Yeah.
well-established companies have used these principles to achieve incredible things.
Our guide for this journey
Okay.
is a 1994 research paper
All right.
from the Strategic Management Journal
Mm-hmm.
called Creating Corporate Entrepreneurship.
Interesting.
Now, you might be thinking,
Right.
1994, is that even relevant today?
Yeah.
But trust me, the insights in this paper are timeless.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
The fundamentals of how companies adapt and innovate haven't changed.
Right.
Even though the pace of business has certainly accelerated.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's unpack this.
Okay.
Imagine a company on the brink of failure
Right.
that not only turns itself around,
Yeah.
but actually forces its entire industry to adapt to its revolutionary ideas.
Wow.
That's the power of corporate entrepreneurship.
Interesting.
We're going to uncover how they pull it off.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So the paper starts
Yeah.
by defining 3 types of corporate entrepreneurship.
Okay.
The first is what they call individual, where you have those passionate managers pushing for new ideas within a company.
Right.
They're the initial spark, the ones who see a different way of doing things.
It's like that aha moment
Yeah.
when someone realizes,
Right.
hey, we could be doing this so much better.
Totally.
But it takes more than just an idea to really make a difference, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where the second type, renewal, comes in.
Okay.
This is where the entire company gets on board with a new vision,
Okay.
revamping their processes, systems, and even their culture.
So they're not just tinkering around the edges here.
No,
It's a full-blown transformation.
it really is.
But then there's this third type, frame breaking,
Yeah,
which sounds kind of intense.
it is.
Okay.
This is where companies become so innovative that they completely rewrite the rules of their industry.
So like,
Think of it this way.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could change the entire way your industry operates. That's what these frame-breaking companies achieve.
Wow, that's next level.
Mhm.
Do they have any examples of that in the paper?
They do.
Okay.
One of the companies featured is Richardson,
Okay.
a kitchen knife manufacturer.
Oh, okay.
Now, kitchen knives,
Yeah.
not exactly the most exciting industry, right?
Right.
But Richardson developed a laser knife that never needs sharpening.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
They completely changed consumer expectations
Oh.
and forced every other knife maker to catch up.
Okay, now that's an innovation I can get behind.
Yeah.
A knife that never needs sharpening. Sign me up.
Great.
So
Yeah.
these 3 types, individual initiative, company-wide renewal,
Yep.
and then totally changing the game.
Right.
They all sound pretty different.
They do.
But the paper says they share some key ingredients.
Yes.
Okay.
The paper identifies 5 key attributes
Okay.
that are present in all 3 types of corporate entrepreneurship.
Uh-huh.
Although their importance might vary depending on the specific situation.
Okay.
Think of them as essential ingredients in a recipe for success.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay.
What's the first ingredient in this recipe for corporate entrepreneurial success?
The first is proactiveness.
Okay.
This isn't just about reacting to the competition.
Right.
It's about actively experimenting,
Mm-hmm.
seeking out new opportunities,
Yeah.
and anticipating future trends.
So,
It's about shaping the market
Yeah.
rather than being shaped by it.
so it's not enough to just keep up with the Joneses.
Right.
You got to be the Joneses.
Yeah.
Setting the pace for everyone else.
Precisely.
Okay.
The paper uses a company called Hotpoint,
Okay.
a United Kingdom, UK appliance manufacturer,
Mm.
as an example of proactiveness in action.
Okay.
They were lagging behind their competitor, Zanussi,
Mm-hmm.
but instead of playing catch-up,
Yeah.
they set an ambitious goal to leapfrog them entirely.
So they weren't just trying to match Zanussi. They wanted to completely blow them out of the water.
Right.
That's ambitious.
It was.
Yeah.
And it required them to be incredibly proactive,
Yeah.
constantly looking for ways to innovate and improve their products and processes.
So what did that look like in practice?
Well,
Yeah.
one key decision was to actually cut their profitable export business.
Really?
Yeah. This freed up resources to focus on revamping their entire manufacturing approach,
Oh, okay.
allowing them to become more efficient and produce higher quality appliances.
So they were willing to sacrifice short-term gains for long-term success?
They were.
That takes guts.
It does.
Okay, that's proactiveness.
Uh-huh.
What's the next ingredient on our list?
The second attribute is aspirations beyond resources.
Okay.
Which is a fancy way of saying that these companies set big, hairy, audacious goals that seem almost impossible to achieve with their current resources.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's about aiming for the stars even if you don't have a rocket ship yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's that unwavering belief that you could achieve something truly remarkable, even if the odds are stacked against you.
And Hot Point aiming to overtake Zanzi is a perfect example of that, right?
Absolutely.
They were starting from behind, but still set their sights on becoming the leader.
They did.
Yeah.
They had this burning desire to be the best.
Right.
And that drove them to find creative ways to overcome their resource limitations.
It's inspiring, really.
It is.
It makes you think about your own goals and whether you're setting the bar high enough.
It certainly does.
Yeah.
Now, the third attribute is all about teamwork. Team orientation.
Ah, the power of collaboration.
It is.
Because no one can achieve great things alone, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not just about working together.
Right.
It's about breaking down those traditional company silos and getting people from different departments to collaborate towards a common goal.
We've all been in those group projects where no one wants to pull their weight.
Right.
Yeah.
But in these successful companies, everyone's rowing in the same direction, which is incredible to see.
What's a good example of this from the paper?
They highlight Edwards, a company that manufactures vacuum pumps. They completely overhauled their order processing system by bringing together teams from every single department.
Wow.
Engineering, sales, manufacturing, you name it.
So it wasn't just the IT department trying to figure this out on their own. They had everyone involved from the start.
Yes.
Wow.
And the results were remarkable.
Yeah.
They were able to streamline the entire process, reduce errors, and improve customer satisfaction.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So they took what could have been a logistical nightmare and turned it into a success story just by getting everyone on the same page.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got proactiveness, big goals, teamwork, and creative problem solving.
That's right.
What's the final ingredient in this recipe for corporate entrepreneurship?
The fifth, and perhaps most important attribute, is learning capability.
Okay.
Which is all about continuous learning and adaptation.
So it's not enough to just have a great idea or even implement it successfully. You have to be constantly learning and evolving.
Precisely.
Yeah.
These companies are never satisfied with the status quo.
Right.
They're constantly seeking feedback, analyzing their successes and failures, and tweaking their approach to get better and better.
It's like they're in perpetual beta mode.
Yeah.
Always iterating and improving.
Exactly. And they don't just learn from their own experiences.
Okay.
They're also constantly looking at what's happening in the market.
Right.
What their competitors are doing and what new technologies are emerging.
So it's about being open to new information.
It is.
And being willing to change course if necessary.
Absolutely.
Okay.
A great example of this is Woolsey.
Okay.
A knitwear company mentioned in the paper. They were initially resistant to feedback from their overseas agents who were telling them that their products weren't suited for international markets.
So they were stuck in their ways.
Yeah.
Thinking what worked in one market would work everywhere. Exactly.
Right.
But eventually they realized that they needed to listen to those agents and adapt their products to meet the specific needs of different cultures.
And I'm guessing that paid off for them.
It did.
Yeah.
They were able to significantly expand their global reach and increase sales by being more responsive to customer feedback.
Wow.
It makes you wonder how many companies are missing out on opportunities.
Right.
Because they're not willing to listen and learn.
It's a common pitfall.
Yeah.
But the companies that embrace this learning capability are the ones that thrive in the long run.
Okay, so we've got our 5 key ingredients. Proactiveness.
Yep.
Big goals.
Yes.
Teamwork. Creative problem solving.
Right.
And continuous learning.
Exactly.
But how do these ingredients actually come together to create a successful transformation?
That's where the paper's framework for the stages of transformation comes in.
Okay.
And it all starts with the leader.
All right, let's dive into that. Tell me about these stages.
The first stage is called sensing at the top.
Okay.
And it's all about that initial spark of recognition that things need to change.
So this is where the leader has that aha moment.
Yeah.
Realizing that the company needs to adapt and evolve.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's often based on intuition and experience.
Right.
Rather than hard data. These leaders have a knack for sensing opportunities and threats before they're fully apparent to others.
It's like they have that sixth sense for where the market is heading or what customers will want next.
Yeah.
They're not just looking at spreadsheets. They're looking at the bigger picture.
Precisely.
Okay.
And it takes courage to trust those instincts.
Right.
Especially when everyone else might be telling you to stay the course.
Right, because going against the grain can be risky.
It can.
But these leaders are willing to take that chance because they believe so strongly in their vision.
They do.
Do they have any examples in the paper?
They do.
Okay.
Of a leader who really embodied this sensing at the top stage. They talk about Edwards and Weir.
Okay.
A pump manufacturing company.
Oh, right.
And how their managing director had this gut feeling that their costing system was outdated and inaccurate.
So he sensed that something was off?
Yeah.
Even though the numbers might not have been screaming it at him?
Exactly.
Wow.
And instead of just ignoring that feeling, he decided to scrap the old system entirely and start fresh.
Wow, that's bold.
It was a big move.
But I guess if you don't trust your own instincts,
right.
Who will?
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, the second stage is called galvanized into renewal.
Okay.
This is where the leadership team gets on board with the need for change, and they start taking concrete steps to make it happen.
So the initial spark from the leader ignites a fire that spreads throughout the organization.
Precisely.
Cool.
It's about moving from that initial sense of urgency to a company-wide commitment to transformation.
Okay.
And this often involves some tough decisions.
Like
cutting outdated processes, restructuring teams, and even letting go of people who aren't aligned with the new vision.
That sounds intense.
It can be.
It's like they're tearing down the old house to build a brand new one in its place.
It can be a disruptive process.
Yeah.
But it's necessary to create space for the new to emerge.
Oh.
And Edwards and Weir are a great example of this.
Okay.
They actually abandoned their old costing system.
Really?
Before they had a new one fully in place.
Wait, so they were operating without a key system for a while?
They were.
That seems risky.
It was.
Yeah.
But they knew that the old system was holding them back.
Right.
And they were willing to trust their gut until they had a better solution in place.
So it was a calculated risk.
Yeah.
Driven by that conviction that they were on the right path.
Exactly.
Wow.
Now, the third and final stage
okay.
is where things get really interesting.
Ooh.
They call it deepening understanding.
Okay.
This is where the company moves beyond simply adapting to change and starts to actively shape the market.
Okay, so they're not just reacting anymore. They're driving the change.
Yeah.
They're the ones setting the trends.
Precisely.
Oh.
They've reached a level of understanding about their customers, their industry, and their own capabilities. That allows them to anticipate future needs and develop truly innovative solutions.
So they're playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers?
Yeah.
They're several moves ahead, seeing things that others don't.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this is where companies like Richardson, with their revolutionary laser knife, come in.
Yeah.
They've reached a point where they're not just making better knives.
Right.
They're redefining what a knife can be.
That's amazing.
It is.
So they're not just following the rules. They're making new ones.
Right.
They're the trailblazers.
Yeah.
Pioneers. The ones who push the boundaries of what's possible.
Exactly.
Wow.
And it all starts with that initial spark of insight. That willingness to question the status quo.
Right.
And to trust your gut.
So it's not just about having a great product or service.
No.
It's about having that vision, that entrepreneurial spirit that drives you to constantly innovate and improve.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
The paper dives into some fascinating examples of companies that have successfully gone through these stages of transformation.
Yeah.
And they highlight how each of these companies faced unique challenges and opportunities along the way.
Okay, I'm eager to hear about these examples.
Okay.
Because I think that's where the rubber really meets the road. Seeing how these concepts play out in the real world.
Yep.
Let's start with Hotpoint.
Okay.
What do they do?
Hotpoint is a great example of a company that completely reinvented itself.
Okay.
As we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
They were lagging behind their competitors, the Nusi. But they had this burning desire to be the best. They were proactive. They set ambitious goals.
Yeah.
And they fostered a culture of teamwork and collaboration.
And remember, they even made the tough decision to cut their profitable export business to focus on their domestic market.
They did.
That takes guts.
It does.
Yeah.
But that decision ultimately allowed them to streamline their operations.
Okay.
Improve their product quality, and become a major force in the UK appliance market.
So they really turned things around.
They did.
It sounds like
They even managed to navigate that tricky relationship between the large retailers and the smaller shops.
Right.
By offering competitive pricing while still providing value and support to the independent stores.
So they were strategic.
Yes.
They were innovative. And they were able to find those win-win solutions that kept everyone happy.
They were?
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, what about Richardson?
Okay.
I want to hear more about that laser knife story.
Richardson is a classic example of a frame-breaking innovator.
Okay.
They took a seemingly mundane product, the kitchen knife, and turned it into something truly revolutionary. And it wasn't an overnight success.
Okay.
They faced numerous challenges and setbacks along the way.
So they had to learn from their mistakes and keep iterating until they got it right.
Yeah, exactly. They embraced that learning capability we talked about earlier.
Right.
They were constantly experimenting, testing, and refining their design until they had a product that was truly groundbreaking.
And the fact that they were able to change consumer expectations for an entire industry?
It really is
remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought that we needed a knife that never needs sharpening?
Right.
But once they created it, everyone else had to follow suit.
It's a testament to the power of innovation.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder that even established industries can be disrupted by companies that are willing to think differently and challenge the status quo.
Right. So don't get complacent.
No.
Always be on the lookout for those opportunities to shake things up.
Exactly.
Okay, we've talked about Hotpoint and Richardson. What's the final example?
The final example is Edwards, the vacuum pump manufacturer.
Right.
They're a great illustration of how cross-functional teamwork can lead to incredible results. Their complete overhaul of their order processing system, bringing together people from every department, shows that breaking down those silos can be incredibly powerful.
And I remember that they were willing to abandon their old costing system.
Yeah.
Even without a new one ready to go.
They were.
That takes a lot of trust in your team and in the process.
It does.
Yeah.
But that willingness to take calculated risks is often what separates successful transformations from those that falter.
So it's about balancing that intuition with a solid plan and a team you can trust.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, it's important to acknowledge that not every company will achieve the level of success that Hotpoint, Richardson, or Edwards did.
Of course.
But the principles outlined in this paper are still incredibly relevant for any organization looking to adapt, evolve, and thrive in today's rapidly changing world.
Right, because even if you're not trying to completely reinvent your industry, you still need to be able to respond to market shifts, customer demands, and technological advancements.
Absolutely.
And that requires fostering a culture of entrepreneurship.
It does.
Empowering individuals to take initiative and embracing continuous learning.
That's right.
So it's about creating an environment where people feel comfortable taking risks, trying new things, and learning from their mistakes.
Exactly.
And it's about recognizing that transformation is an ongoing process, not a one-time event.
That's right.
It's like that saying, the only constant is change. So if you're not constantly evolving, you're falling behind.
Precisely. Now, one of the things that struck me about these successful transformations is the crucial role of leadership.
Okay, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that, because we've touched on the importance of that initial sensing at the top stage, but I'm guessing there's more to it than that.
There is.
Okay.
The leaders of these companies weren't just visionaries.
Right.
They were also master communicators, motivators, and champions for change.
Right.
They were able to articulate a clear vision for the future, inspire their teams to embrace that vision, and navigate the inevitable challenges and setbacks along the way.
So it's not enough to just have a great idea.
No.
You have to be able to rally the troops and get everyone on board with the journey.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that requires strong leadership skills, empathy, resilience, and a deep understanding of human behavior.
It sounds like a tall order.
It can be.
Not everyone is cut out to lead a company through such a dramatic transformation.
It's true.
Yeah.
But the good news is that leadership can be developed and cultivated.
Oh, okay.
And the companies that invest in developing their leaders are the ones that are most likely to succeed in the long run.
So if you're a leader listening to this, take note. Investing in your own development and the development of your team is crucial for navigating the complexities of today's business environment.
Absolutely. Right.
Now, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the obstacles that companies might face when trying to embrace corporate entrepreneurship.
Okay, because it can't all be smooth sailing, right?
Right.
What are some of the common pitfalls that companies should be aware of?
One of the biggest challenges is overcoming inertia.
Okay.
Large established companies often have deeply ingrained systems, processes, and cultures that can be resistant to change.
It's like trying to turn a giant ship around.
It is. Yeah. It takes a lot of effort to shift course.
And sometimes, even when people recognize the need for change,
they're
reluctant to let go of the old ways of doing things.
They are.
Right, because change can be scary.
It can.
It can feel threatening, especially if you've been successful in the past doing things a certain way.
So how do you break through that resistance to change?
Well, it starts with creating a sense of urgency.
Okay.
People need to understand why change is necessary and what's at stake if they don't adapt.
So it's about painting a clear picture of the future.
Yes.
Both the positive possibilities and the potential risks if they stay stuck in the past.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's about creating a compelling narrative that people can connect with emotionally.
Right, because facts and figures alone might not be enough to motivate people to change their behavior.
They're not.
You need to tap into their hearts as well as their minds.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Another common obstacle is a lack of alignment within the leadership team.
Okay.
If the leaders aren't all on the same page about the need for change and the direction the company should be heading in, it's going to be very difficult to get the rest of the organization on board.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like trying to row a boat with everyone pulling in different directions. You're not going to get very far.
You're not.
So it's crucial to have a unified leadership team that's committed to the transformation process.
Yeah.
But what about those companies that are just starting to explore this idea of corporate entrepreneurship?
Yeah.
What advice would you give them?
I would say start small.
Okay.
You don't have to boil the ocean all at once.
Right.
Identify a specific area where you can experiment with some of these principles and see what works.
So maybe create a pilot program or a cross-functional team to tackle a specific challenge.
Exactly.
Okay.
And don't be afraid to fail.
Right.
Failure is part of the learning process.
It is.
The key is to learn from those failures and iterate until you find what works.
So embrace that learning capability from the start.
Yes.
Don't let the fear of failure hold you back from trying new things.
Precisely.
And celebrate those small wins along the way.
Yes.
Building momentum is crucial for sustaining any transformation effort.
It is.
So even if you're not seeing massive results right away,
acknowledge those small victories and use them to fuel your progress.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, this deep dive into corporate entrepreneurship has been incredibly insightful.
It has.
But I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Okay.
What's that final nugget of wisdom you want to impart?
We talked about how these successful companies often started with leaders who had a strong intuition, a gut feeling that things needed to change.
Right.
Even if the data wasn't screaming it at them.
Right, like that managing director at Edwards & Weir who just knew their costing system was off, even though it probably looked fine on paper.
Exactly. Yeah. And it makes you wonder, how much should we be relying on data versus instinct?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
In our own decision-making.
Especially when it comes to big strategic moves.
Because we live in a world that's obsessed with data.
Right.
But sometimes
those gut feelings can be incredibly powerful.
They can.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like those successful leaders, they weren't just number crunchers.
Right.
They were able to see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And make those bold decisions based on experience and intuition.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
Perhaps those leaders weren't just lucky.
Right.
Maybe they had honed their intuition over years of experience being in the trenches and seeing firsthand how things really worked.
Yeah, maybe it's a combination of both.
Right.
You need that solid data foundation, but you also need the wisdom and experience to interpret that data and make those judgment calls when the stakes are high.
It certainly challenges us to think beyond the spreadsheets and consider the power of human insight, creativity, and that almost inexplicable ability to sense an opportunity before it's fully formed.
It's like those entrepreneurs were playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. They were thinking several moves ahead, anticipating market shifts, and trusting their gut to guide them through uncharted territory.
And that's what makes corporate entrepreneurship so fascinating and so powerful.
Right.
It's that fusion of strategic thinking, bold action, and that unwavering belief in the possibility of achieving something truly extraordinary.
So, there you have it.
Yeah.
Our deep dive into the world of corporate entrepreneurship.
That's right.
We've explored how companies can transform themselves from the inside out, reinvent their businesses, and even reshape entire industries.
It's been a really interesting journey.
Hopefully, this has sparked some new ideas for you.
Yeah.
And maybe even ignited a bit of that entrepreneurial fire within you.
Remember, you don't have to be a CEO to make a difference.
Right.
That entrepreneurial spirit can live and breathe within any role, any team, any organization.
Exactly. Yeah. So be proactive, set ambitious goals, collaborate with your colleagues, and never stop learning.
That's right.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe you'll be the one to spark the next big innovation that transforms your company or even your entire industry.
And if you ever find yourself facing a seemingly impossible dilemma, remember those frame-breaking companies we talked about today?
Yeah.
They found a way, and so can you.
Until next time, keep diving deep and keep that entrepreneurial spirit burning bright.